Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about dealing with mistakes on 1099 income. Regardless of how gig workers and employees need to file their taxes, we need our W-2s and 1099s to do that. And just like any other human being on earth, sometimes the accounting departments in question can absolutely make mistakes on your forms, which you would need to have corrected. So with that said, we are talking about how to deal with mistakes on 1099 forms, dealing with the companies as well as the IRS itself, and everything in between. But before we do that, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain is never intended to be legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult qualified professionals before applying anything you find online. Also, thank you to GigTax for verifying this information and making this video possible. Contacting the proper issuers. Taxpayers should first contact the employer, payer, or issuing agency directly for copies. Taxpayers who haven't received a W-2 or 1099 form should contact the employer, payer, or payment company in general, or the issuing agency and request a copy of the missing document or a corrected document. Now, for gig workers, this could be a bit tricky. First of all, gig companies are notorious for sending the wrong information, putting taxes on you that they shouldn't, and even stealing from their own gig workers only to have them pay taxes on the money they stole. Uber Phoenix lost $1,700 after wrongfully being deactivated. Taxes were put on him. If you work at 10 different gig companies, get dividends from stocks, churn credit cards for bonuses, run an online business, and get money from lawsuits and insurance for whatever reason, it is a lot to keep track of, and not everyone is going to tell you that they've sent you a 1099 or get it to you on time. I just found out by accident that Delivered sent me a 1099 without notifying me. Of course, if you're keeping track of your income, expenses, and otherwise, as well as filing taxes properly with tax professionals, this won't be too much of an issue, but some things can get lost in the cracks. Getting IRS assistance. If they can't get a copy of a corrected form for whatever reason, they could contact the IRS for help. Taxpayers should file their tax returns on time, even if they have missing or incorrect documents. If they don't receive the missing or corrected form from their employer or payer by the end of February, they can call the IRS at 800-829-1040 for help. They'll need to provide their name, address, phone number, social security number, and the dates of employment, or the dates in which they were contracted with the company. They'll also need to provide the employer's or payer's name, address, and phone number. The IRS will contact the employer or payer and request the missing form from them. Now, also keep in mind that gig workers can also keep track of their income, and sometimes they're not going to issue one simply because your income doesn't meet the proper threshold to issue a 1099 to begin with, which means you need to know about what those thresholds are in order to receive one. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I made a video of some of the most common 1099s gig workers will receive. I will leave that in the description. Feel free to check that out. Estimating corrected income and return on form. After the taxpayer contacts the IRS about missing documents, the IRS will send the taxpayer one of these forms. Form 4852, substitute for Form W-2, wage and tax statement, or Form 1099-R, distributions from pensions, annuities, retirement or profit-sharing plans, IRAs, insurance contracts, etc. If the taxpayer doesn't receive the missing form, in order to file their income tax return by the filing due date, they may complete Form 4852 or Form 1099-R to estimate their wages and earnings. They then attach the relevant form to their tax return when they file. Taxpayer may also need to file an amended return when they file with the missing or incorrect info. If they receive the missing or corrected Form W-2 or Form 1099-R after filing their return and the information differs from their previous estimate, they must file Form 1040X, amended U.S. individual income tax return. Correcting Form 1099G for unemployment benefits. Taxpayers who receive an incorrect Form 1099-G for unemployment benefits in which they did not receive, they should contact the issuing state agency to request a revised Form 1099-G showing that they did not receive these benefits. Taxpayers who are unable to obtain a timely corrected form from the state should still file an accurate tax return, reporting only the income they received. And for those of you who have gotten into the gig economy because you got laid off from a job, and then they are using this as a way to make money in the interim, they may also need to keep that in mind that unemployment benefits can be wrong too. Don't be that guy. Now, some of you guys can see that your 1099s and W-2s are wrong and decide not to do anything at all. Maybe because it seems like it's a lot of work, or maybe because it is in your favor that the mistake is made, or it's just confusing and you don't know what to do anyway. So you decide to leave it alone, deal with it, potentially lose money, or heck, take advantage of the mistake because why not? What they don't know won't hurt them, right? Well, it might hurt you if the IRS starts poking in your general direction, so do yourself a favor and don't be that guy. Other errors. One of the most common mistakes I've picked up on, especially in my gig journey, is identifying misinformation with the form that isn't income specifically. Such as with misspelling your name if you got one of those really long last names that people can easily misspell. Wrong or outdated address, which is a really big deal because of your local income taxes. Let's say you moved from New York or California to Florida or Vegas. There's a very big income tax difference. Using your social security number instead of your EIN. This is very common for people who have been a gig worker for a while and decided to start an LLC or an S Corp later on, along with many other errors. Of course, if you work with the right tax professional, they can make the corrections on their side of things, but I wouldn't want to make more work for them to potentially bill you on. Also, it is important to work with the proper tax professional that won't overcharge you for working with multiple companies, having multiple 1099s, and is overall specialized to help with gig workers as a whole, and GigTax is here to help. Tax season is inevitable, and for every hour spent navigating tax season on your own, you will miss out on potential earnings, precious moments with loved ones, or expose yourself to financial risk. Recognized as the leading tax preparation service for gig workers, GigTax is dedicated to simplifying the process, saving you time, energy, and money. Founded by Joseph Mayo, a seasoned gig worker with 6,000 deliveries across 6 platforms since 2020 and growing, GigTax addresses the overlooked, overcharged, and underserved needs of gig workers in the financial realm. Driven Wyld subscribers can take advantage of an exclusive 77% discount on GigTax's tax prep, bringing the price from $538 all the way down to $124. Act now to get this price before GigTax's calendar is booked, because tax season is wrapping up in less than 3 weeks from now. Secure your spot today with GigTax using the description link below to register and enter Wyld to maximize savings and get back to what you do best, making the most amount of money in the least amount of time in the safest possible way. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.